Okay, let's welcome our second keynote speaker, Professor Liangxiu Han.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Please
Hello, everyone.
Please give me one minute to introduce you to our participants.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. Dr. Liangxiu Han is currently a professor of computer science at the Department of Computing and Mathematics, Manchester Metropolitan University. She is a co-director of Center for Advanced Computational Science and the Deputy Director of Man-Made Crime and Wellbeing Big Data Center. Han's interests mainly lie in the development of novel big data analytic, machine learning AI, and the development of novel intelligent architectures that facilitates big data analytics, as well as applications in different domains, using various large-scale datasets such as image, sensor data, network traffic, web, and geospatial data. As a principal investigator of COPI, Professor Han has been conducting research in relation to big data, machine learning, AI, cloud computing, parallel and distributed computing. Today, she will present his keynote speech, which titled Scalable Deep Learning for Alzheimer's Disease Diagnosis from Large Neuroimaging Data. Now, let's welcome Professor Han to present his keynote speech.
Thank you very much, Jenny. So for the kind introduction, let me share my screen.
Okay.
It's okay, yeah?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for organizer for inviting me having here. Particularly thanks for Professor Zhang and the other chairs for inviting me. So my name is Liangxiu Han. I'm professor of computing science from Manchester Metropolitan University, as Jenny already mentioned. So today, my talk today is mainly regarding scalable deep learning for Alzheimer's disease diagnosis from large neuroimaging data. But what I want to say that actually, because my specialty is really in the computing science, so here we just talk about like application. So before doing that, I just want to talk about our big data research. Is this today's talk is really just the application, one application. So before doing that, I just give a little bit introduction about our research. So that's why where I'm come from and why this application come from. So our big data research. So we have our research direction mainly in big data research. We focus on both fundamental and applied research in big data processing and data analytics. That's also called data intensive computing. So with application into the different domains. So by the big data, we means that we're not only develop the novel big data analytics, machine learning AI, the algorithm models, but also we really looking at how to develop novel intelligent architecture that can facilitate such big data processing and machine learning running efficiently on the high performance computing or the cloud computing or even edge computing. So that's what we really wanted to create, like a scalable data product instead of just a single purely algorithm, because I think that's more useful maybe for the real life, for our society. So, and also we apply our big data technologies into the different domain to demonstrate our method. Okay, so that's how. So in the end, ultimately, we want to build a scalable big data driven production system solution to meet the societal challenges. So that's the general our research program. So here, as you can see here, we so we have covered all these kind of different area. So with big data, future sustainable society, and then we have different application domains. So here we just show some application domain what we have involved. For example, for example, our big data research has addressed applied to the life sciences, healthcare. So for example, this one, the first one is we just recently got from British Heart Foundation, where we use big data to identify and predict the incident and for the heart attack disease. And another project, that's what I'm going to talk today, is from Royal Society Academy of Medical Science, where Newton Advanced Fellowship, where we call big data driven the intelligent analysis of high dimensional multimodal neural imaging data and its application to brain disease diagnosis. And certainly we also developed some method funded by EPSRC, where we develop like a computer-aided diagnosis for glaucoma disease, and other projects, for example, for the gene expression patterns. For that one, so the reason why I want to mention is that because for this project, we're really not only develop purely algorithm, but also really about how we make this algorithm scalable. Here is just precision agriculture. I'm not going to say detail, but again, underlying is really about how we actually use big data, particularly develop a big data scalable solution to address the societal challenges. Okay, so let's start this talk to today's focus. So I'm mainly focus really apply for this project. Actually, we call the deep learning for Alzheimer's disease diagnosis from large neural imaging data. So this actually come from a project funded by Royal Society and the Academy of Medical Science. It is big data driven intelligent. Within this project is in collaboration with Nanjing University of Aeronautics and Astronautics, and the project focus on both methodological development. That means developing the machine learning models, AI, and also application to detection of brain diseases. So that's focused on two aspects. So as you already seen from my previous slides, where our focus is really about not only develop algorithm, but also really develop the architecture. So that's why for this project, same principle applies. So for example, firstly, we want to develop the efficient machine learning AI algorithm. For this study, we have developed various methods. For example, we developed explainable 3D residue self-attention deep learning neural network, particularly with use this data for Alzheimer's disease diagnosis, and also dual attention multi-instance deep learning for Alzheimer's disease diagnosis with also with this data set. And also we because we make it try to make it scalable, so that's why we have also developed a parallelization method to facilitate this efficient learning in parallel and distributed computing. So that's why another method we have developed what we call the hybrid parallel approach for distributed and scalable deep learning. So why we call the scalable deep learning? Why scalable deep learning is so critical? And here, just show you an example here. A typical deep neural network require large amount of data to learning parameters, often reaching to millions to obtain higher accuracy. So training a deep learning model is both computational and data intensive. so which may take days or weeks, really depending upon your computing computing resources. So this will as a result, this will cause like longer research and the production cycle. Okay, so what do we mean by scalability of deep learning? So scalability of deep learning means that a mechanism that implemented in both hardware and software to allow fast computation, enhance the model performance in a cost-effective manner. So several main principal strategies. From model development perspective, mostly what we have done with the model. For example, we reduce the parameters, reduce the size of models, and for the optimized model, using the prune the model, for example, that's from model development point of view. And from system architecture production perspective, normally we do for example, we develop some like method where it can run efficiently on parallel and distributed computing. So in that sense, and then it will involve different challenges. For example, how to distribute workloads or decompose an algorithm into the parts, and how to map the task onto the various computing nodes and execute the task in parallel, how to coordinate the communicate the subtask on those computing nodes. So that's why when we actually develop this kind of deep learning model, and currently, certainly most of our researchers, they might just develop a deep learning model, just using TensorFlow, PyTorch. They just develop this single model, but it's rarely. I think maybe it's not. I mean, not many of researchers really. No, certainly there are also many research efforts done in the parallel computing. I think, but if we for purely for deep learning algorithm point of view, I think. For this part, they might thinking less for this part. So the advantage for us is that because our big data, we focus on both aspects. So that's why we also attempt to do both this side. Okay, so why? So why we're doing this application? So I think I just give you like why we do this project. We're doing this application. So Alzheimer's disease is certainly its most common cause of dementia. It contributes to 60-70% of dementia cases, and affect over 30 million individuals. And also it is the most common type of dementia in the UK. So this kind of disease is a progressive disease. It is gradually within over a number of years, but it has no efficient cure, so only can be slowed and through the medication. So as you can see from this picture, where you can see the normal and abnormal disease. So based on picture is quite straightforward. You can see, you can identify. So computing vision is certainly most straightforward to actually for this kind of disease detection. And so that's why computer-aided diagnosis. Here in this area, normally they do the two classification task. For example, automated discrimination progression of AD and so for example, they normally focus on the two tasks. So normal cohort versus AD task, and also the progressive MCI versus stable MCI. So that's the mostly currently researchers what they're focusing on in this area to do the Alzheimer's disease diagnosis. So that's why we also follow these tasks. So based on this task, we design the corresponding the classification algorithm. So there are because we are dealing with this kind of like a structured MRI scan, so that there are many challenges coming through. For example, 3D data, because this 3D data, the data size is 100 times that of traditional 2D images used in the common signal models. This is definitely brings challenges to the use of GPU memory. And also the convolutional operators has a local receptive field. A long-range dependency can only be processed after passing through several convolutional layers. So this could prevent learning about a long-term dependencies. So that's why we propose this 3D explainable residue attention network, where actually is called 3D res attention net, a deep neural network that adopts self-attention residue mechanism, as we just mentioned earlier. So there is, we need to capture the long-range dependency. So, and the explainable, and try to be explainable. Certainly we apply this gradient-based local class activation mapping grade CAM for AD diagnosis. So this is the general flow for our model, and here are the more specific for each block. For example, here 3D convolutional block, and also residue self-attention block, and then the self-attention layer. And so yeah, so I think so this is our proposed model for address this challenge. So why we want to design this? Why? So the residue, because residue, why we design residue mechanism. So this is the problem of vanishing exploiting the gradient when a network goes deeper. So in addition, the residue connection avoids the loss of global features to ensure the integrity of the original information. The self-attention mechanism to learn long-range dependency. It is really central importance in deep neural network. Because the convolutional operator has a local receptive field. So long-range dependency can only be processed, as I just mentioned earlier previously. So this is really computational inefficient, and will cause the optimization difficulties. And again, as I said, we just applied a gradient-based localization class activation mapping. So visual explanation of prediction of Alzheimer's disease. So here is a resonate architecture where we use, as you can see here, so where we use different kernel size and the pooling layer, and the stack of 3 times convolutional layer is used to improve the computing efficiency compared to widely used 7 times 7 convolutional layer. So here the self-attention layer is introduced to the end of original residue module to help the module efficiently capture the global information. So this is why we have this self-attention map. So, and also for the classification for the explanation, and so we apply the class activation mapping is so this actually is a widely used method, but at the time of our writing, I think at that moment I don't think that many of the researchers, yeah, indeed there are researchers doing this, but yeah, so I think when we did our research at that time, I think it's not a lot of people doing. So so that's why we apply this grade CAM in this model, and to try to do visualization, to try to explain the disease decision, and certainly because our ongoing research actually added more explain explanation method. So maybe in the next time I will introduce. And so, and also we have done some experimental evaluation. And the data we mainly used from ADNI. So this subject are mainly divided into 3 classes. So for example, AD, MCI, and NC. And also for MCI conversion prediction, MCI subjects are further divided into 2 classes, PMCI and SMCI. So so these are the data set what we got. So here are some experimental results what we got. So our proposed result is the highest. So I think here is the the experimental result what we got. And here is just the visualization. The result showed that method classified into the category same as the ground truth, while a 3D resonator 34 classified into a wrong category PMCI. So here we just show some example, shows the classification result where use the algorithm in classification into the wrong class or the right class. Okay, so this is the result. And also we also compared yeah, certainly we have conducted the different method the cross validation and also the independent validation where we got a result to try to make our model more general. As you can see, we have using the different. For example, we have ADNI data set 1 and evaluation with 1, and we evaluation with 2. So basically purely different from, and we also evaluated with 3. And on the other hand, we also do the we training use 2, and then we evaluate on the other data set completely is different from ADNI. So yeah, so these are the experimental results. And also, I think just a second, maybe, can I? Okay, right. So this is some visualization result showed different brain disease, the different view. So here, I think we did create. Okay, so here is what we have created, for example, based on our data to create like attention map. Right, okay, so okay, right, that's the model. It really is a purely single, the purely deep learning model running on single GPU. Right, and it takes some time when you're training that model. It takes some time, maybe take some like 3 to 4 hours if you only running on 1 GPU or 2 GPU or 3 GPU. Okay, so that's just like a single deep learning. No, deep learning models running on single GPU, or even you run 3 GPU, but it's not anything that's relevant to like a parallel. You never actually think about that. Okay. So how we can, how we make this our algorithm make it scalable. So as I said, we're not purely develop an algorithm to publish paper, but really also wanted to try to build some scalable algorithm that can actually really to running efficiently can bring that into the real life. So here, that's why we considered how we actually make this happen. So that's parallelization for scalability for this case. So for the when we're doing the parallelization, when we develop the scalable deep learning model, we mostly focus on model parallel and data parallel. Jenny, did I? How many minutes I left? Sorry.
Please wait.
So
About 6 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to, so parallelization, so model parallel and data parallel. So that's why we, as I mentioned earlier, so that's why we need to talk, thinking about how we actually, for example, when we talk about the data parallelization, that means you divide, that's very straightforward. You just divide your chunk of neural imaging data into the different chunks. You're just running your deep learning model in each single computer, GPU computer. Now that's fine. However, that may not enough because because deep learning model, for example, they're layer, they are sequential, maybe there is some locking problem. So how actually make it more efficient? So that's why you need also consider how we actually make this model parallel. So that involves like partition the layers and to which way make this partition is more efficiently. So this is what we have done. We have developed what we call the mode combination hybrid parallelization approach, where we, on one hand, we partition the model layer. On the other hand, we also partition the data into the chunks. So in that case, we make the model efficient, training process become efficient. As you can see here, we have when we partition to we have an algorithm here. We use the genetic algorithm where we allocate the resources from the layer to the different GPUs. And certainly the same happens as like, for the data set as well. Okay, so data parallelization, where we use a synchronous stochastic gradient descent, as well as a ring or reduce mechanism for parameter update. All GPU are logically arranged in a ring or reduced topology. So each GPU send and receive require information to update its model parameters from its neighbor. So as you can see here, so this is data parallelization. And the model parallelization, this is more challenging task because data parallelization is quite straightforward, but model parallelization is very challenging. So here, neural network model partition, we particularly firstly partition those model, and then we use genetic algorithm-based heuristic resource allocation mechanism, try to allocate each layer into the right GPU. So here, for example, network partitioning, the principle of network partitioning is based on the computational load of each layer with the aim to reduce communication overhead during the training process. And the highly functional layers are partitioned individually as a single partition for even distribution of the DNA model layers. For instance, a convolutional layer of CNN architecture has a large volume of weight and can be partitioned as a single partition for efficient parallel training. For the smaller one, then you can also partition into the smaller the function. So here are the algorithm what we have done, but this paper has been published. So if you have any questions, maybe you can email me and we can discuss off the table. So now here, as you can see here, parallelization, and we use the Amazon EC2. We machine configuration. We use the rent the large instance, and so we so here is the configuration, and we use the 8 GPU, so we have done some comparison study. So this is our blue one is our approach. DP is the native parallel approach, the library actually provided by PyTorch. So it does have. And so this is, as you can see, our approach is significantly reduced the amount of the training time. So that's why it is really important to make your algorithm and the method is scalable. So so based on this experiment, as you can see, our comparison with native parallel approach from the PyTorch, as you can see, our training speed is pretty much you know, so it's quite like, you know, is the linear, achieve the linear speed. So I think from this research, what we can know that is when you develop this kind of scalable deep learning, we're not really purely developing this. What do we mean by scalable? Means that we're not really purely just to develop a deep learning model just for that algorithm, but really developing parallel and a distributed approach, make this deep learning model training more efficiently. And also currently we are also working on a more robust, efficient parallelization approach. For example, like a backpropagation, where there is a sequential propagation processes. So there is a locking problem. So that's why updating locking problem. So that's why we have just finished a paper submitted under review, but where is to solve the unlocking problem, which build upon this efficient algorithm to make it more efficient. So to provide a better DNN model training performance. Okay, so here is some selected paper. Again, another paper I haven't put here is we solved the unlocking problem for this similar, the same case. So I think this we really appreciate the funding from the Academy of Medical Sciences, Royal Society, and also this is in collaboration with Nanjing University of Aeronautics and Astronautics, Professor Dao Qiangzhang and his team. So yeah, certainly we have a lot of like, you know, collaborators, collaboration. So, okay, so thank you very much. I'm hoping that my talk is timely. Is okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Han. Now,
yep.
One participant want to ask a question, he will ask you directly. Please wait.
Thank you.
NR18953. Are you here?
Yes, I am. My name is Naila Rabbani. I'm a professor in Qatar Medical School, so I'm not a computer scientist, but I am very interested using machine learning to do all these diagnoses. So my question is, it's excellent talk. I'm a previous speaker and yours, and looking at the conditions, which is really we need to diagnose at early stages. So you have looked at the brain of obviously already diagnosed people with Alzheimer's. Are you planning to look at the early symptoms perhaps and do the prediction of that?
Yes, we're really interested because this is very, as you said, this is very the highly topic, and we're really interested in this application for and we are planning to do the early diagnosis, and actually in our university, we have like the biologist. They have already collected some data for from the genetic data. So that's why we wanted to not only use the images, but also combine the genetic data and these images to do a more comprehensive prediction of brain disease. Now, certainly, if you are interested in, so certainly I'm also very interested in collaboration with you.
Well, that is great, because I normally look at the phenotype, protein biomarkers in blood, which are more closer to the phenotype of the condition. So currently I am measuring some protein damage marker in people with mild early stages and then late stages of Alzheimer's disease and control. And we are hoping to use machine learning to see if we could see the patterns.
Yeah, that's
in that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So now I will be very happy to collaborate.
Yeah, that's great. So Yeah, I'm not very sure whether did I write my email. So yeah, maybe we can talk off the table, so if you can send me email so that we can have some more in-depth conversation.
Yeah, thank you. I'm presenting tomorrow, so I will be sending my email.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Professor Han. Any other questions? Okay, thanks again. Now we will start our next session. Thank you, Professor Han.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you all the organization. Thank you for your wonderful event. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.